Welcome to this tour through the business economy of Japan. In this presentation, we will explore the political economy, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, and legal aspects of Japan as they relate to the United States. At the end, there will be a brief SWOT analysis to help you in your decision making. Let's get started. Japan is a Shikishima or island chain located between the Sea of Japan and the Pacific Ocean. It is made up of over 6,800 islands covering over 365,000 square miles, which is just less than the state of California and makes it the 61st largest country in the world. Mountains cover nearly 80% of Japan's terrain. Within that mountainous terrain are 110 active volcanoes. At last count, Japan's population was just over 126.7 million, which is just about half of the United States' population, but in a much smaller area. For comparison, the U.S. population density is around 86 per square mile, while Japan's is 868. Japan is a constitutional monarchy combined with a parliamentary democracy. The emperor, Akihito, acts as a purely ceremonial being, led by the National Diet, which is Japan's bicameral legislature, made up of the House of Councilors and the House of Representatives. The Prime Minister is selected by the Diet and appointed by the Emperor in ceremony. The current Prime Minister is Shinzo Abe, elected in December of 2012. In 2016, Japan and the United States shared the same Freedom House Political Freedom Index rating of 1 on a scale of 1 to 7, 1 being free and 7 not free. Freedom House concluded that Japan's elections are free and fair, corruption is low, and their citizens are free to be individuals. Japan also ranks favorably at 20th in Corruption Perception Index, just 2 spots below the United States at 18th. Japan and the United States are also very close in rule of law and political stability. Japan has an industrialized free market economy and is currently the third largest economy in the world, behind only China and the United States. Japan felt the recession of 2008 just as the United States did and is continuing to slowly recover. Japan has a gross national income and gross national income per capita based on purchasing power parity that continues to grow, even if it is only gradual. Japan still has a long way to go in economic freedom, but by comparison, so does the United States. Some of the things keeping Japan from a higher index are government spending, fiscal health, and financial freedom. The United States and Japan both have very high human development ratings, with the United States ranked at number 10 and Japan just slightly behind at number 17. Here you can see that Japan's FDI stock and flows are significantly lower than those of the United States. However, they are on the rise. According to an article from the Japan Times, the Abe administration has vowed to double the outstanding FDI to $35 trillion by 2020. They hope to do this by cutting tax rates to attract more foreign investors. The United States has been a key player in Japan's trade policies for the better part of the last century. In 2016, the United States accounted for 10% of Japan's imports and almost 20% of their exports. Other top trade partners are China, Australia, and South Korea. As many of you know, Japan is a top exporter of cars and car parts, accounting for nearly 20% of their exports. They are also a top importer and exporter of integrated circuits. Japan's ethnic makeup is less than diverse, with over 98% of inhabitants being of Japanese descent. Japanese is the primary and official language of Japan, spoken by over 121 million residents. Unlike the United States, Japanese language and writing are different. There are 3 Japanese writing systems. Of those 3, the most recognizable is kanji. There is no official religion. However, of the 40% who are religious, the most popular is a combination of Shintoism and Buddhism. Japan consistently ranks well above average in PISA performance, ranking 5th in maths, 2nd in science, and 8th in reading among 72 countries. Here you can see a comparison of the average scores with Japan's and United States scores. From this graph, we can see that Japan is a very masculine and restrained country. Additionally, they have one of the highest uncertainty avoidances in the world. This is in large part to their geographical location in history. Everything is very ritualized and planned for, which makes change a difficult hurdle in Japanese society. Japan puts a larger percentage of GDP into research and development than the United States. This is due in large part to the rebuilding efforts after the earthquake and tsunami of 2011. This earthquake killed almost 16,000 people, injured over 6,000, and left hundreds of thousands without homes. As of 2015, over 2,500 are still missing, and almost 250,000 are still in temporary housing. Japan scored a 54.72 on the Global Innovation Index in 2017, ranking 14th, whereas the United States ranked 4th with a score of 61.4. The focus of this year's Global Innovation Index was to measure the technology, agriculture, and networking skills of countries to find their abilities in feeding the world. According to the Global Innovation Index report, agricultural and food processing sectors continue to face an enormous rise in global demand and increased competition for limited natural resources. Innovation can be key to maintaining the productivity growth required to meet this rising demand in a sustainable fashion, and it can help enhance the networks that integrate food systems. Japan fares well in the Environmental Performance Index report in each cycle. In 2016, out of 178 countries, Japan ranked 26th overall, first in water and sanitation, 26th in water resources, and 35th in forests. However, they ranked 160th in agriculture, mainly because of the mountainous terrain. Japan's law system is a civil law system, whereas the United States law follows common law. In the United States, judicial decisions allow some degree of personal interpretation of laws or past judgments. In Japan's civil law system, however, laws and statutes are used as steadfast guidelines. Japan's legal freedoms have followed an upward trend for the last 5 or more years. Citizens have the right to protect their intellectual and physical properties, and the government abides by those rights. Overall, you will notice that the United States and Japan compare very closely in a lot of major areas of the PESTEL evaluation. Let's take a look at a brief SWOT analysis. Japan has many strengths, including their strong economy. If you'll remember, Japan is the 3rd strongest economy in the world. Japan is also a leader in technology, and they lead in industries for general materials, or items that others will continue to have a need for. As far as weaknesses, Japan would fare well to spend more on research and development to really expand upon the strengths they already have. This would include spending more time on environmental sustainability and reducing reliance on imports. There are opportunities to be seized in the education and promotion of business for the younger generation. As you see here, Japan's population is aging, and promoting a strong workforce for the future will be a great benefit. The significant threats that Japan faces are due in large part to the geographic location. Terrorism is a threat to most countries in Eastern Asia. However, being surrounded by water and on an island chain full of volcanoes can also pose a significant threat. Additionally, as discussed in opportunities, the aging population and seemingly low birth rate will cause a problem in the near future. I hope that the preceding information will help you in making the decision of whether or not to expand your business to the beautiful country of Japan. Sayonara. Arigato.